Hello, I'm Josh Court and this is Nelsie Coulson, and welcome to ThePremLife. Starting off, we finally had some Premier League results again, so that's great. And this week we're going to discuss the Manchester United game and the specific talking points in the game, as well as Gylfi Sigurdsson for Tottenham.
Match winner against Norwich.
So let's get on to United. Tell me about the penalty. Obviously that's the big talking point.
Well, there were a couple of incidents leading up to the penalty too. There's obviously the Everett incident and then the Ashley Young before the penalty where he got the yellow card. Now, what for me was interesting was this term dive that everyone likes to use. And I think for something to be a dive, you have to realize that it's not avoiding contact or it's not trying to get out the way. It's not that you have to be tackled and touched for it to be a dive. You know what I'm saying? But so for me, what Ashley Young did for when he got his yellow card wasn't actually a dive as such. What he did was he tried to make the decision for the ref and said, okay, someone has put his leg out, I'm just going to go down, kick him, whatever. Now, it's very difficult for the ref because that might well have been a penalty. If he kept going, he might well have not been able to get around the guy or been disrupted heavily, so the ref would have to give a penalty. But because he made such a show of it and it looked so unnatural the way he went down with his legs flailed out like that,
and kicked
the ref,
the other player.
The ref didn't give it. Now, when you look at the actual penalty, despite it being outside the box, which was, but that was another incident where he could have kept going in all likelihood, but he decided he was going to make the call for the ref, and the ref, clearly what he's saying is, as the ref, that it's not that trying to make the call for me is a yellow card and stop the game, because he gave the penalty. So I have to question it a bit and say, what's the ref really, what's his motivation for the yellow card? And I think it's difficult as a ref, but you gotta have consistency to some degree. And if you're just blaming players for going down unnaturally like that, or going down in a more natural way, then you start to open a can of worms that you.
So, onto the penalty itself. In the new Premier League season, they show for a penalty taker who's takes loss like Van Persie, they show where his last 5 have been taken, and you saw 4 of Van Persie's last 5 have been on the right, and only 1 was on the left. And you see clearly the goalkeeper still studied this stuff because the keeper went to the right, where Van Persie put 4 out of 5 as penalty. And Van Persie, knowing that he's put 4 out of 5, went left.
Well, it's all about bluff and double bluff. And the thing is, for me, if I was the keeper, I'd go to a stronger side every time. And I'll tell you why. It's because with them both knowing that that's his stronger side, it's meaningless. If they both had the same information, and so he does clearly favour that side, the left footer into his arcs, so I'd still go there, and I wouldn't blame the keeper for
of course,
going
not
that way.
penalty.
But I mean, it's an interesting thing because clearly goalkeepers and strikers, penalty takers, have looked at it for a long time, but only now we get to see it.
So last thing to touch on the United game, in my opinion, once United are playing against a newly promoted 10-man Crystal Palace, under Ferguson you would have expected at Old Trafford to be thumping 4-5 past the newly promoted team, 10 men, just clinging on to not get 4-5 past it, you know what I mean? With Moyes, a 2-0 win is comfortable, you know what I mean? And I think the reason I say that is as well because Ferguson made it clear towards the end of his career that goal difference really mattered to him, so he wanted those big scorelines.
I mean, Moyes was clearly scared to open it up because maybe you get a goal 1-1 and but Ferguson never had that fear, never. So it shows a slight difference in Moyes and Ferguson, and not exactly like for like.
So on to Sigurdsson, his game on the weekend for Spurs.
Sigurdsson's an interesting player. I mean, he plays attacking mid, and maybe some people debate this, but in my opinion, he doesn't have a huge amount of creativity. He's not a Carzola or a Coutinho who's playing these beautiful through balls. What he does do well is he keeps the ball well in tight areas, And what he does well too is he pitches up. The right place, right time puts him in.
That's so good for me.
So,
just pitching up, always on the end of crosses, end of free kicks coming in. He's not winning headers, not doing the tussling. He's not the guy picking it up deep, making a 20-yard run, 1-2 or something, and then smashing. He's the guy at the end of that whole build-up that he just quickly quickly runs in and steals the goal, which actually is a talent.
Very useful.
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
And don't underrate it. That sort of cleverness in a play is very, very useful.
Especially with the likes of Eriksson, who is a creative player, and Soldado, who is a natural finisher. He's going to get himself marked.
And
Soldado.
there's so many players around now for Tottenham. Last year you sort of marked Bale and kept an eye on him, but now there's lots of players to keep your eye on. And Sigurdsson can just fly under the radar, so
exactly.
I think he'll do well
agree
this year.
with that completely.
But I think that you mustn't class him as at the tip of a midfield three or something, because he's not like that. He is more of a second striker.
Of a free roamer.
Yeah, but his position is more as a striker than as an attacking mid.
Sure. Alright, thanks for watching. If you want to get hold of us, you can use the hashtag ThePremLife on Twitter, or use the ThePremLife at Gmail.